Hello, guys. What's going on? Um, Welcome to my show once again today, and I welcome all you wherever you are, all over the world. Once again, my name is Harry Mangulenje, and we're going to be discussing soccer as well today. Africa Cup of Nations 2024. That's my main interest in this discussion. Okay, but I welcome all you and I greet everybody wherever you are. Habari yako nzuri sana. Okay, zirise ziribo njani sanbonani. Okay, adumela, how are you? Bonjour, bonjour, ça va, jambo, jambo. All right, thank you so much. Okay, Africa Cup of Nations has started. Africa Cup of Nations 2024. It's very exciting. That's what I wanted to share today. Okay, so far, let's start with congratulating Ivory Coast for hosting 2024 Africa Cup of Nations. As you know, that this Africa Cup of Nations was not supposed to happen this year, all right, but because of changes due to COVID-19, so there were some shifting of the dates by CAF, okay, and FIFA calendar changed, and that's why we're having Africa Cup of Nations in 2024. All right, in my country, Malawi, is not there. Okay, it's not there, did not qualify, but that's not a problem. Hoping next time we'll do better. Okay, just to address a few things, and this is very important even for people who bet. Okay, there are some things that we can share to understand how football is managed, how football is run, how football is happening all over the world. It gives you a good idea that even when you're placing a bet, you're placing that ticket, you know exactly what's going to happen. All right, thank you so much. You are most welcome. All right, let me start with Ivory Coast. I want to congratulate Ivory Coast for hosting this tournament. Okay, and so amazing. Okay, looking at the manner in which Ivory Coast has handled the whole tournament, yes, of course, there are some few critics, but it's so spectacular and amazing. And personally, I did not even, for a country like Ivory Coast that is coming from the background of war, okay, I did not expect that it can, perform so well like that in terms of, hosting the event. Okay, Ivory Coast, there were conflicts. I think about 10 years or 10, 20 years, there were many conflicts, wars. They were there. There were fights, civil conflicts there, political problems. Okay, but coming from there, looking at even the roads, the infrastructure, the stadiums, and the people, it's so amazing. It's so nice. This is Africa. This is a motivating and giving motivation to all countries in Africa that it's possible to host Africa Cup of Nations as so spectacular like that. So it's very, very important that we put this into perspective. We mentioned that what Ivory Coast has done to host the event, Africa Cup of Nations, Afcon 2024, and the manner in which they have handled the whole event is so good, so exciting. Okay, that we must put it in perspective. So Africa Cup of Nations, Afcon 2024, so far we're saying thank you, Ivory Coast. Thank you so much. It's so nice, it's so good, and we are happy with how, looking at the roads, looking at the infrastructure, the stadiums, looking at the people, you see. And sometimes I didn't think that Ivory Coast is as beautiful as that, you see. And it's so good because it's one way of visiting other countries that nobody ever thought you would visit countries like those, but you can see on the TV there that no, it's something spectacular. You see, Africa is really coming up, and we hope that many other countries will do the same. Last time we had Angola, and why not next time Tanzania, maybe Ethiopia or Algeria, whatever, any other country should have that motivation to host Africa Cup of Nations. Thank you, Ivory Coast. Okay, now let's go to the pitch itself. So far, we have seen that there are upsets and shocks. You see, like for example, most of the giants, okay, the favorites before the tournament started, they are not living up to the billing. They are not living up to the standards. It's like there's so many shocks. Okay, that unexpected results. So this is, to me, this is good. Okay, because actually, Some people don't know what it is happening, but it means that the game itself is improving. Okay, other countries are improving. You see, it's not like if your country is not doing well, it doesn't mean that your country maybe is not what performing well. No, other countries are improving. So you have to accept that sometimes there are changes that happen in other countries as well. So this is a good lesson even to governments. Investment in infrastructure, in technical capacity, technical ability. Okay, you have to raise the game high. So this is very important to mention. But I have seen so many criticisms, coaches saying, oh, I mean, like journalists, maybe soccer critics, you know, different, various countries, different, almost every country, okay, where the players are being criticized, etc. But, um, you know, at the end of the day, soccer must be the winner. Okay, if your country doesn't win, it's fine. Okay, soccer must be the winner. So don't underrate any team. There is no underdog these days. There is no underdog. Look at Algeria. Look at Tunisia. You see, it's because the other teams they were playing with, now they are improving. So they are improving. So don't say this coach is the worst coach we have ever had. No, it's just the circumstance, the situations, the type of games is played. They were not there, maybe tougher. Okay, not what he expected. So that it happens in life. Okay, so governments must, associations as well, they must review. For example, you see Cameroon, they are so bitter with the performance of their team, right? But I think it's not fair because they think like they can dominate the whole Africa. Always. That's not true. Sometimes and other teams can perform well. You have to go down and do a lot of soul searching, okay, investigation to soul search. Start from the ground again. You see what you are doing wrong, okay. Try to find out instead of pointing fingers at people. It's not good, all right. Try to do what is called soul search, okay, and then grassroots. Try to develop again, redevelop the game again. You will do better. But for you to think that you can always dominate Africa, Senegal is doing well, but it's not forever. No, okay. There are other teams that are not there at Africa Cup of Nations that are even very good. You see, they were left out. Teams like that are coming up very well, like Ethiopia, teams like Lesotho, teams like Botswana. They are not there at Africa Cup of Nations, but they're very good teams. See, so teams like Kenya was there last time, but teams like Sudan is not there. Sudan yet. Chad, okay. Central African Republic, Congo Brazzaville is not there, okay. So many teams are not there, but these teams are very, very, very terrific. So I want to say there is no need for you to take out knives, take out punches, go back to the grassroots, try to redo, okay, try to overhaul the system. You will see that, okay, you will be rewarded for your good job. But so far, let's say the truth, that I'm impressed with how Africa Cup of Nations is taking place, okay. Though there are those criticisms from soccer critics in different countries to their national teams, okay. Give a chance to the, sometimes, let me give you, for example, if you like, I give you example of my country, like Malawi. You see, soccer administrators, they need to sit down to see what is it that we are doing wrong. They will find so many things that they are doing wrong, so many things. Like we had a situation where national team, they go into camp. When they go into camp, they go for training. They go 9 o'clock training, and they come out 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. They're going home. Okay, then they go back to training. They go 3 o'clock, and then 5 o'clock they are off. You see, sometimes you see the schedules of training camp. During the camp training, actual training is poor. You see, how do you expect the team to perform well? See, even you see during the actual games, I look at the system of play. You see, And before I can forget, why is Ivory Coast one of the most special countries in Africa? Ivory Coast is the country known to be evergreen, okay? Evergreen country where rain falls at least um, 9 months of the year. 9 months, 8, 9 months of the year, they receive full rains, okay? So most of the countries in Africa, they receive up to 6 months. All right. Others, they receive rains. Even the others that receive only 3 months. Okay. And others receive rains for 4 months. Okay. But Ivory Coast and Congo belt, they receive rains up to 9 months. 9 months of rains. So it's a very special country. I wanted just to mention this because hosting Africa Cup of Nations Afcon has been something very spectacular that we should mention this. That's why Ivory Coast is one of the most rich countries, one of the richest countries in terms of resources. It's a country that is blessed with natural resources. Okay, that's why they call it Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast. All right. Just talking about football, I wanted to highlight one thing that is spectacular that we have seen at Africa Cup of Nations. The exiting of giants. We have seen the exiting of giants. When I talk about giants, I'm talking about Egypt. Okay, Egypt is out. Okay, we've seen them falling out, even not reaching, knockout stages. You've seen Cameroon crashing out. Okay, in the knockout stages. We've seen Ghana out. See, you can't even predict, you can't even think about it. Ghana out. You've seen Tunisia out. Algeria, think about Algeria. These are countries that usually would say they always favorites, okay, out. You see, this is something very tremendous that, so-called underdogs, they are the ones that have made great history in this particular edition of Africa Cup of Nations Afcon. And we are hearing now that in the next Afcon or in the subsequent Afcon, they will increase the teams to 24. So this is an opportunity for most countries. All right. Thanks so much to President Patrice Motsepe, who made this point to say that the Afcon, they are considering seriously of increasing the number of teams to 24 teams. Yeah, so it's something very spectacular from the current status to 24 teams. It's something that is very spectacular, and I hope that other countries also will have opportunity to participate and even to take Afcon. For example, I was looking at the countries, the map, the countries, for example, the countries that qualified to Afcon. Most of the countries from West Africa, they're just neighbors. See, you look at Mauritania, is a neighbor to Cape Verde. Okay, is a neighbor to Senegal, is a neighbor to Guinea. Okay, Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso, and Ivory Coast. You see, from Senegal to Ivory Coast, okay, you jump only one country, that is Mali, and Mali is there as well. So it's something very spectacular that you see that West African countries, almost all of them, and Gambia is a country inside Senegal, you see, but Senegal and Gambia, both of them at Africa Cup of Nations, they were there. Ghana, both of them, they're out now, but both of them, they were there. And even our Equatorial Guinea, okay, Equatorial Guinea is just after, is it Congo Brazzaville? After Congo Brazzaville is where you find Equatorial Guinea, okay. Such a very good country. So it's playing beautiful football as well. So I think Malawi is playing Equatorial Guinea somewhere this year, but it's going to be a World Cup qualifier. And it's going to be a very tough game, I hope so. Yeah, so this is very good. We saw Namibia playing so well. Now, we saw Angola qualifying to Africa to the knockout stages. to the and to the quarterfinals, and that was very, very, very amazing. Yeah, if you can support your team is not there, you can support the neighbor. Okay, so you can support the neighboring country. Okay, there's no problem with that. That is very, very, very good because your country cannot always be there, but you can support the country next to you. Okay, so what we're saying is that, of course, when we look at to explain why some of the giants have been eliminated, okay, in that fashion. If you look at the list of the countries that have been eliminated, you talk about Egypt, okay, 7-time champions. You talk about Algeria, Tunisia. You talk about Ghana. You talk about Cameroon, okay, being eliminated. What is it teaching us? Some people are saying that no, you see what, because maybe these giants did not come prepared. Okay, that's not possible to say that these giants, some of them, they're coming fresh from World Cup. They were there at the World Cup. You talk about Egypt was at the World Cup. Okay, Tunisia was there at the World Cup. All right, Algeria was there at the World Cup. So Ghana was there at the World Cup. Okay, but you see, look at Ghana being eliminated by Cape Verde. Cape Verde was not there at the World Cup. So what is going on? To explain this, I can tell you that, you have to look at it at different angle to say that other African countries are also improving, okay, improving their game, right? So many African countries are improving, so there is no underdog. We talked about Lesotho. They talk about Botswana. Last time Botswana was at Africa Cup of Nations as well. You see, we looked at Tanzania, second time qualifying to Africa Cup of Nations. Okay, so there is no underdog anymore. There is no underdog. Last time we had Kenya was there at Africa Cup of Nations. So now the previous edition of Africa Cup of Nations 2021, which we had Malawi and Zimbabwe, only two in the Southern Africa, but they performed so good that Malawi reached the knockout stages. You see, where they were knocked out by Morocco, but it was a tough battle as well. But these are underdogs. So what I'm trying to say is that where we are going, Africa, there will be no underdog. In fact, World Cup will be well represented. In fact, most of the games that have World Cup, we are likely to be reaching up to the level of we'll be able to reach even semi-finals. Oh yeah, last time we reached semi-finals with Morocco, even finals. Okay, there should be no problem at all. But we need to continue improving. But what I'm saying is that there is no underdog at Africa Cup of Nations from now on. We will agree that there will be no more underdog. All right, because teams are improving. Because even the levels of coaching and the levels of structure is improving everywhere in Africa. This is very encouraging because we have been behind for a long time, okay, to the rest of the world. Okay, we need to be having African representative reaching finals, quarterfinals. Almost every edition of the World Cup, we must be reaching there. It's very important because we produce massive players that are playing in Europe. So, and someone was saying that most of the giants, soccer giants, have players playing in Europe and playing in top leagues. So what is really the problem? If I can tell you the problem with top players playing in Europe, okay, the problem is that they are exposed and their style of football, okay, is kind of uniform, so much so that it's exposed, all right? So that kind of football, when they're playing in Europe, okay, they are well supported. So they don't play like only Africans, okay? They're playing blended with Europeans. So most of them, they shine because they are blended well there in Europe. So you find those players, yes, of course, they are skilled or they're talented from Africa. But when they go there, they find even better environment, which they polish up and they become much more better. But when they come back to Africa to play, now they import that that style of European football. What I'm trying to say, most of these giants were trying to play or import European football into Africa Cup of Nations. So that doesn't work. Okay, that doesn't work. In fact, that's why I was asking sometimes that, most of the coaches at Africa in Africa, if you want to perform well, you as a coach, you must try to blend even some locals. I remember that the time Nigeria did very well, okay, at Africa Cup of Nations, they had a number of local players that were playing there in Nigeria, okay, and some of them were playing in South Africa, okay. Nigeria that time around 2012. Was it 20? No, not 2012, but it must be 2015 if I'm not mistaken. The time that they grabbed Africa Cup of Nations. I've just forgotten the. But they had a few names that were local. Not only that, but look, the time Zambia grabbed Africa Cup of Nations. You remember, it was 2012, exactly 2012. Completely locally bred, okay? And they managed to get Africa Cup of Nations, grab the cup and bring it to Southern Africa. That was tremendous. That was so hilarious. So what I'm trying to say is that inclusion of local players, okay, is very important for a coach who wants to do well. This will kind of dilute, okay, the importation of European soccer to African, because that European soccer is the one that makes most of these so-called giants, okay, not perform so well, because they try to play like English football in Africa. So they struggle a lot, okay. They struggle with a cohesion on African soil, because they will, for example, they play what we call underdogs. Most of the underdogs, they are very unpredictable because they change coaches too much and they change their systems of play, all right, depending on the environment. So much so that in the end, you'll find that underdogs, okay, end up beating those giants. The reason being is that their systems, they change their system so much. While these so-called giants, they are sometimes predictable because, like I've said, they import their soccer from wherever majority of their players play. For example, majority of the players like Morocco, they are playing the leagues where they know each other very well, their system, etc. They meet frequently, all right? So when you put them together, you are like, it's the same like you're putting an English team, okay, an English club. You're putting together, like maybe Napoli, you put it together and you say Napoli should play against maybe Cameroon. You see, so it's something like that. So it's very hilarious and very, very entertaining. I enjoyed the game so much. Thank you so much for you guys. Bye-bye.